go back over to monitor, our apps ran. We can look at the last execution. We can go look at the reports. And here's our reports. Okay, so my Android test, my last test ran, and all the steps passed. However, if we look at iOS, we come in here, so everything ran and passed, so it was able to self-repair and it was able to execute. We can look at our agents, so we have our one agent running. I have that running up here. If we have a problem with it or it hangs, we can restart it. That does happen sometimes, but not a lot. We can check to see what agents are in a ready state. We can see what agents are in a disconnected state. Talk about integrations. We won't really get into that much today. So let's create a new test. Let's do new test. Let's do mobile. Next. And this will be demo Android. Of course, you want to make these things as descriptive as possible, but for demoing purposes, I'm just keeping it short and simple. Go next. We'll do Android. Select your mobile application. So we have our choices, put it all together, sample drawer 1, or we can add a new application. So these are all previous applications that I've loaded. So let's add a new application for testing. So if you have a physical device attached, you can click from device, or if you have an emulator, you can pick the emulator. And then it takes it a moment to scan the device, but then you can select the applications on the device. So you could actually test like the browser, like we just did with Safari. So here we could do maybe Chrome, see if this works. If you don't want to load it from the device, you can upload it from an APK file, which is what I did for the React Native project that we did. I exported that to an APK and uploaded it. Or we can add it manually, so we could actually load it from code. We're going to keep this very simple today. We're just going to try to kick off Chrome. Let's click done. And so we got Chrome, Android, all looks good. Next, let's record a test. Now, like I said last time, we have the options to record to the cloud or save our test as a file. We'll keep things simple and just use cloud for now and start the recording. So as soon as you click start recording, you get your step recorded here on the left, and it tries to open up the emulator on the right. And this will take a second or two to load. And if you'll notice, we're simulating what's going on in the actual emulator. Reset the application. So it's reset. We're back to this page. So the first thing we notice is that we're recording now. So we've cleared the application data and the app is now up for testing. So we can come down here and click accept and continue. And it recorded our click. So we clicked accept and continue. This was an Android widget button. We're going to skip the sync section. So we click no thanks. And it catches that as well. Now we're on the Google page. So let's go in here and search for Amazon. It's thinking about something. Type Amazon, search. Why did we lose? Oh, there we go. Okay. So Test API found a better way to locate your elements during the recording. So instead of us just typing, it recognized that, oh, it's an edit text widget. So we're going to search on a web address using the edit text instead of doing a search box text. So now we're doing an XPath lookup to find the widget edit text and search or type web address. So we click confirm. And we find Amazon, and then we look for this guy here. So we click Amazon, and now we're on the Amazon Google search. So if we want to scroll, you have to click and drag up to get your arrow to kind of see how far you want to scroll. So, and there's Amazon.com. So we want to click on that and say we want to search for donuts. Okay, so we got donuts, and it gives us coffee, which is just fine. All right, so we've added 13 steps. So let's pause this and let's rerun and make sure everything works. So it resets the app. And we essentially go through and click through our steps. including our mistakes. It's thinking because we're trying to find Amazon.com. Yep. See, self-10 was self-healing. So now it's trying to go back. So it looks like it clicked or it didn't scroll far enough. So now it's going to kind of scroll up and down the page to find the right search results. Still thinking. But the nice part is it's smart enough to determine this. So while you may have to do this once or twice to get your test defined correctly, once it's defined, it should be good to go. So if for some reason you start running your test and things break, you can always reload your tests if you're running them offline in TestProject, and they should work. So now let's go ahead and stop that. So here we go again. Test AI found a better way to locate your elements, so it did not like the view for Amazon.com. So it found, oh, well, we need to do an XPath lookup. And this makes more sense because it was a Google search. So this could change. So it needs to do an XPath lookup to find it. All right, so we can save and exit. We now have our demo app. We can run it. We can select our agent. Now, if I run it from this screen and run it, I have to actually go out to the emulator to see it running. So if you actually have your device connected, this is just a quick and easy way to run the test on your app without having to go into the monitor, go and do the screen sharing, and just test it. And it's going to have to think about it because the donuts is slightly different this time. But that is how we create a Android app. All right, so next let's walk through adding an iOS app. So let's go to mobile, next, and this is going to be a demo iOS, next, iOS. So now you have the options of adding a new application for testing. So we have Amazon, Expo, Safari, so I've already preloaded these. If you have the developer license, you can load the IPA, but because I do not, it will not let me run this. So I have to actually add a new application. So we can again upload the IPA, we can run from code, or we can run from device. So if I do iPhone 13 Pro, I can then look on the device because the emulator is running right here. So it will give me a list of all the devices that are available. So I have contacts right here, I have files, I have health, maps, mobile calendar, and so on. So let's try maps. I've tried this before. This could go completely bad, but let's give it a shot. So let's do maps, record, keep it default cloud, start recording. So we want to select our device. And like I said before, when the emulators are running, it's the last device in the list. And we click select. iOS takes a little bit longer to load. And pretty much every time you start a new test for mobile, you almost always want to clear and restart. That way you're always starting with a fresh emulator. So hit yes, and that will ensure the first step gets saved. Right, so now we're recording. So we'll click continue to take the default to confirm we want our settings. We'll say we don't allow, and let's search maps, it's thinking. So when you try to click something, if it can't find it initially, it will do its logic to find the step. So we found it. All right, let's search for Nashville, Tennessee. There we go, Nashville, Tennessee. And let's go to guides. And let's look for things to do. Oh, look, there's an actual site. So we can click the site and open up Tennessee Tourism. So this now should open up, let's say, a browser. It's trying to figure out what this element is. Might not be clickable. I might be clicking on the wrong thing. Apparently that's not clickable. So we'll close that. You can see up here it's thinking. All right, so maybe we want to do things to do. There we go. Things to do. Nashville's best Photoshop or photo spots. Okay, we can then click the location, zoom in on it. And you have to be patient when you're recording these for the first time because the application does have to think through what it's trying to do. Mobile is a little bit more difficult than web, so just be a little smarter. And then there's the Ryman. All right, so let's save this. So let's stop. Let's run it. Actually, let's slow this down just a little bit so we can see what's going on. Let's run. So as you can see, it has to kind of think through what it's doing. Because again, the first time it's running this. It had a problem with the step. Let's try that again. So if you notice that welcome page is not there for that first step I had to do. So I did not need to do that. Let's try this again. Click maps, open maps. Like step 2 still. That was that preference page that loaded the first time. So let's run it again. So now it should restart and just go click the map section now. And now it has to think for a minute because we move things around. And as you can see, it can be temperamental. Let's do that line, Nashville. This one more time. If not, we'll move on after this. There it goes. So as you can see, it's not perfect, but with a little tweaking and just a little thinking through the test the first time, or as you work through your development cycles and you have to tweak this, you will have to make some adjustments to your test steps, but most of the time, the test project agent should be able to rectify what it's trying to do. I'm going to go ahead and stop this, exit. All right, so we have our demo Android, we have our demo iOS. So the last thing I want to show you today is how to export this code and look at it inside of Eclipse. So if we take our project here, demo Android, you have a couple different options you can do with this project. You can move it to a folder, you can share this test with someone else and let them run it. It's another beautiful feature of TestProject is the sharing. You can get a direct link, you can change parameters, you can copy the ID, but what we want is this section down here. We want to generate the code. So we want to click that, and then you have your options of Java, C#, Python, and then you have TestProject Legacy or TestProject Open SDK. I recommend sticking with the TestProject Open SDK. Give it your project name. So this will be IO TestProject Generate my first project. We'll say my first Android project, because I think I already have my first project out there. Lowercase, and then we'll download this. Allow. Okay, code is downloaded. So let's go find our code. So go to downloads. I'm going to copy this to my development folder. So go to development. Okay, I have Appium. Here's my code. Export this. Open this guy up. Okay, so there's my project. And let's go look at this from Eclipse. Okay, now we want to import our project. Project from the folders, next, directory. There's our project. Click open, finish. Here's our project. You notice there's no POM file, so the first thing we need to do is we need to right click and we need to configure this to be Maven, or we could even do mobile nature, but I want to get the dependencies, so we'll take Maven on, take the defaults. So if we go back to our slide, we need these dependencies. So we'll go out to our Maven repository. Let's search for our dependencies. For Selenium Java. Take the latest. We'll add the dependencies section. Okay, there's our Selenium. We then need Java client for Appium. There's Appium. Try to stay away from betas. Try to stick with the latest version. Here. And last, we need our TestProject. There's a lot of Java SDKs. We'll search for by TestProject. There we go. And we'll take the latest release. Downloaded the dependencies, so now our project compiles.